Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to discuss what we're going to do with the Dakota and this transmission situation. So, right now my plan is to not mess with that 46RE. I intentionally didn't put a bunch of money into it when we built it. I bought the rebuild kit and torque converter that was in it for $250 from the guy I bought the truck from. Now he bought it to put in the factory power level truck, not this. But I didn't want to spend the money because I don't want to work with that transmission. So that's why we're not going further and why we didn't go further. I'm not clueless. I'm even if you watch that video, I'm pretty sure I said, I don't know how long this torque converter is going to last. Well, it lasted about this long. So, not worried about that. There's a reason we did that. What I want to do is go to the 8HP70 out of a Ram or a Challenger or a Scat Pack or something. The gear ratios are better. I think it has more, I think it's got equal capacity or more capacity at a factory level, perhaps. But 8 speeds, and with aftermarket control, you can put a clutch pedal in, you can do trans brake, you can do lots of stuff. Those transmissions are about $800 I've seen out of wrecked or totaled Scat Packs, and they're in every Ram these days, I believe. So they're getting easier to get a hold of. I've checked on eBay, I can buy one right now for $800. There's a couple in some low mile Challengers for $800, $750 in that range. No one sells an adapter for the flex plate yet. I'll have to figure that out. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while, so I've got to figure that out. So I think I'll get one and start messing with that. But it'll be a little while. Gotta save up some money to get a trans. The controller I want to use, I think it's from HTG. I think they're in Europe, but I think they've got the best. There's also Turbo Lamic. I've looked up them too. They're comparable as far as cost and ability. I don't know which one I'll go with yet because I've got to save up the $1,300 or $1,500 it's going to cost. But that's the way I want to go. So, what we're going to do to stay busy and keep moving is I've already got stuff on the way for the truck. So I just modeled up the stuff to get the throttle cables hooked to that throttle body. So that's happening. I've got another harness sitting over there on the floor. I went and got out of the truck so we can kind of address that and neaten it up and make it a little better. So we can run it through the intake manifold and get rid of the extra stuff. Knock it down to one narrowband O2 sensor and try some stuff there. Of course, it won't be running because the torque converter is pushing up against the engine. I'm going to leave it in for now until I get the other trans. I will get my block and crank and flex plate and everything else so I can set it on this to mock it up. So on top of the throttle body, I was working on making some kind of like a Smith Assassin type traction bar, but of my own making. It's not necessarily cheaper to build it yourself, but I can do it my way and I can say I did it. Plus, they don't make a kit that's just inherently going to fit the 8.8 in a Dakota with this, with that, the way I want to do it. So, this guy. So far, I think I'm going to be right at the cost of buying these Smith Assassin bars. I don't even know if they make them for a Dakota RT or whatever. But I've got my plates to make my lower link connection, and I've got my plates and my things. I think I'm gonna build these. This is a plate to go on top of the leaf spring, and these are to wrap around the axle. And the bolt pattern, you could use U-bolts with this, but my plan is to, like they do with the Smith Assassin bars on their demo, is to get rid of the U-bolts and just have that and have spacers and sandwich the leaf spring. So that's what I want to do. I've also done something that most people are going to find silly, but while we're at it, the wheel and tire are pretty well centered in the rear. Maybe a hair towards the back. So, even though it's little and not worth a whole lot, while I'm building this crap, I wanted to go ahead and get it. I've got it set to move the axle forward just 1/4 of an inch. Just enough, because I don't want it to be obvious that I moved it. I want it just enough that you kind of look at it funny, and you got to measure it to tell. So, throttle body happening, and if that works out, I'll be able to make those. I couldn't make it all in one piece and have it bent. I don't have a brake that's capable of bending any heavy steel, and the one at work makes such a big radius, it's damn near useless for this kind of work. So, 4-barrel throttle body. traction bars. The other half of this kit, the front part that actually grabs the leaf spring, their kit actually pins. They drill through the leaf spring and pin it. I don't plan on doing that. I might do that. My plan is where it grabs the leaf spring. Let's see if we can see anything. Where it grabs the leaf spring, right here, I think I will just have a small rod come up and just hit the leaf spring eye. I don't like the idea of drilling a hole in this. I'm sure a billion people have done it and got away with it. I don't want to do that. Will I end up doing that? I don't know. We'll find out. Unfortunately, since it doesn't run, we won't be able to do before and after. I mean, we will. The bars that are going to connect those with the Heims, we'll just take the slack off of that when we actually get to the track or able to do some pulls, and then we'll start loading it up. But that's after the transmission is replaced. What else we got? Alright, I plan on taking the bed off so I can get to the frame easier, because I'm also going to measure for a fuel cell. And I'm not a body man, but I want to move this and this back there, and I'm going to build my own tank unless I just happen to find one that fits. I can model it all up and have it lasered so I can put a sump in it and build it the way I want it, out of stainless, so I don't have to worry about coating it. And if I do everything stainless, then I can run 85 without worrying about it eating the tank. Now, if there is a tank that just happens to measure the exact way I want, then we'll save our time and we'll buy that tank and make it fit. But if not, I'll do what I want and I'll make it fit. So, those are 3 things we got going on, plus the wire harness. At some point, I actually need to finish the 5-lug swap in the front. And because when this thing's sitting on the ground, because of the control arm angles, the more you lower it, the more the tire is getting closer to the body. So, nose, axle, more weight up there. Because this is further back, picks up more on the back. While it's small potatoes, but I want to make those control arms anyway. I'll make the uppers, move it forward, make sure our caster's still good. If we don't have enough caster, then I've got the DJM lowers, I'll modify them or make my own. I also kind of want to go to Viking coilovers, but I don't want to do that yet because we got to get a transmission in it before we spend any actual money. So, lots of crap to do. I don't know how long this is going to take for me to acquire that money. I don't make that much money. So, and I don't like asking you guys, but if you want to, there's a Patreon, and I've got a Cash App, and you can super thanks whatever you feel like you want to do if you want to do it. If not, I'll get it eventually. It's just going to take more time. I'm hoping I can get enough projects to keep me busy for a couple months, and all good steps and all moves forward. I've also got to fix the electrical stuff. Nothing big, just none of the transcooler's just rigged up right now for its fans. And if I move the battery to the back, I don't know where I'm going to put the hub for everything to come out of. I've got some fancy InPower switch panels. Well, I don't have yet, but I use them at work all the time. I think they're pretty sweet. I might use one of those modules, so then I can, they basically can, so I can remote mount that in my switch panel, or my triggers can be somewhere else. So I don't know yet. I want to keep it simple, but also, if I can make it nicer, then it gets more complicated. But it is what it is. It's what I do for a living. I'm not an electrical engineer, but I do all the electrical schematics and R&D work where I work for building work trucks. So I have access and experience with it. So I want to apply some of that to my own things. And fix, like, the battery cable still zip tied to the frame. The temporary fix, if it keeps working, we'll keep using it. So I need to actually fix all those things. Anyway, just wanted to get together a game plan. I pulled the 4 bolts out of the torque converter. I want to see if it slide back in. It does not slide back in. I can still spin it by hand. It's tight though. But without it running, obviously, I can just grab with my finger. I can grab the torque converter and turn it, and it's hard to turn, and you can hear everything in the transmission turning. The torque converter just must have just shit out. It exploded. Whatever it did. It no worky no more. And I'm not going to spend that. And I pulled the pan. There's metal in the pan. Just not going to put that money into it just to I mean, even if I just get another converter and hope nothing else is tore up, I think it's just money thrown away that I could be putting towards the 8-speed. And they make upgrade 8-speed parts. So, one more time. Fancy torque converter 46RE, $1,300. Hold all the power you want. The main drive hub, I think the main drive hub, you can get a 7-clutch one, $1,300. A valve body to do trans brake stuff and other awesome stuff, $1,300. All the other hard parts and rebuild with better packing, I'm sure is another $1,300. So 13 times 4. That's a lot to put into a 46RE. It's not a drag truck. I do want to go fast, but I drive it as a truck. The 8-speed, $800 plus $1,500 for the controller, whatever it takes me, flex plate wise, to get it adapted. I think I've got an idea. I just have to get everything stacked together and see if it works. Make a cross member on a drive shaft. So let's say $4,000 all said and done, maybe. I'm going to try to do it for as cheap as possible. But let's say somewhere in that neighborhood. Well, 13, 8, 2,000. Yeah, 35 would be the high number, I think. And then you can put a clutch pedal in it. So if you wanted to drift or you want to have a clutch pedal for whatever reason, you can do that. Not that I need to with this. I really want that for the 240 with the supercharged 1UZ. I like the automatic because of traffic, but you can lock those things up and put a fake clutch pedal in it. Beat the hell out of it. They use them for drifting all the time now. But the trans brake, it's all programmable. You can have a trans brake without having to buy some ridiculously expensive valve body. So these are all good things. Anyway, if you made it through all this, thank you for watching. If you're new, please like, subscribe. Yeah, if you've been around, like. Every little bit helps. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll keep at it.